Hello everybody, welcome to another video. Today I'm going to do something that I did a couple of months ago when I was trying to predict how the US election is going to look like. And I have studied a little bit of opinion reports here and there from multiple different sources from left, right, and even from neutral perspective. My last prediction was that Donald Trump will win. And so far in the opinion, so far we can see that it is very tight between Donald Trump and Joe Biden. So, but I also did a prediction that if, for example, I was pretty wrong with that one, but hey, that's the whole thing with this. I like to do at least make it more fun, spice it up a little bit here and there. And I predicted that the governor from Florida, Ron DeSantis, would become the nominee of the Republicans, and Donald Trump will be put into jail and that sort of thing. So, and create his own party. And I still kind of predicted that Ron DeSantis would win over Joe Biden, even if Donald Trump was in jail. But that's just have fun with it, in my opinion. So, according to the polls, which, as I said, it is tight. I mean, how much longer is it? 6 months, 7 months now until the election. And I'm one of those people when it comes to American election, I love it because it's so much more fun. It's more, especially the entire political system is just much more fun. Bit complicated, but not as complicated as the British one. And I gotta tell you, as a European, I can tell you right now, our politicians and our political systems and all that are so boring. They're so boring. Some are obviously a little bit more spicier, more fun in my opinion. I don't know if it's that old 60 eras kind of people who are in politics right now, trying to get to power and that sort of thing, and it's just so boring. So yeah, so that's why I do think, even though it's a bit way too much, what we call it now again, a pie throwing, a little bit too much here and there, but otherwise it's so much more better, much more, I don't know, it's great, the drama to like, who should I vote for and that sort of, who should I go with here, but also you gotta take it serious. But so, let's go into this one. So, right now it's trench warfare everywhere where I look in the poolings and that sort of, from pools, what we call now, pool stations or that sort of thing. It's stalemate from everywhere, and nationwide it's even a little bit stalemate between Donald Trump and Joe Biden. What people think about them, what their opinion of it, if they are more positive or negative, and it's very narrowing between those two. But I think Donald Trump so far has the advantage. A lot of the, I should say, the blue walkers kind of voters are probably much more lenient to Donald Trump, because Joe Biden has and the Democrats has pretty much ruined the goddamn economy. So yeah, who do I endorse? Well, in 2016 I predicted way before he became the nominee for the Republican Party that yes, Donald Trump will win. I didn't endorse him, but I told everybody like he's going to win this. There's no debate. And people were just laughing, that sort of thing, you know. They were just, dude, he's not, he's that clown. Guess what? Who was right? So, and I also guessed right on the Brexit and that sort of thing, and the Scottish independence. This time, well, I should bring up 2020. When was it? 2020? It's been that long. Yeah, it doesn't feel like that. Anyway, so yeah, 2020. Obviously you have the whole pandemic going on, and then the whole BLM fiasco going around. No, I don't endorse BLM. I think they are a terrible organization. They have brought so much destruction and put out such amount of false information. I don't give a damn if you're black, white, whatever. If you're actually a good what do you call it, a good citizen of a country, then there's no problem. But when you start to be too this is the case for all white, blacks, yellow in any country. If the moment you start to be too what we're calling it uppkäftig in Swedish, too rebel. I don't know this word for English. Too rebellish against the authority and the state and the police, then obviously you deserve some of the punishment. So don't blame me for that. Blame yourself. Always blame yourself. Always look at yourself. So let's go into this. Let's throw us into this funny stuff. As I said about this sort of thing, my stance when it comes to political, how should I say, position, I'm more of a social conservative kind of person. I stand much more with more tradition in a lot of ways, but I also embrace a lot of social reforms like health cares, retirement kind of things, pensions and that sort of thing, for those who deserves it. And I also support more labor laws and unionizations and that sort of thing. I support that fully. And I support higher taxation for the rich. I also support less taxations for the middle class and the lower class. So I do take a lot of positive things from both sides. And I also think that pure capitalism, it's not evil, as a lot of the people on the left claims it to be, but it does have problems, huge fucking problems. And just look at that American healthcare for once, and also the military industrial complex and that sort of thing. But capitalism is much better alternative than anything else. Now Sweden, a lot of leftists think that Sweden is a model of social utopia and sort of no. For a lot of right side people out there, especially Americans, who take Sweden as more like, and the Nordic countries as more like a scare factor and trying to portray us as devils because we're socialist in their eyes. The truth is we're pretty much neither. We are a very socialist country with a lot of social reforms and powerful unions and very high taxations, and one of the biggest ones in the world. But we do have a capitalistic system, so because it generates money for the state to do their social reforms and the healthcare and that sort of thing, and education to be free, and then it goes back to taxation, the companies and that sort of thing. So that's just a very short down basic how the model works. So no, we're not socialist, we're not communist, we're social capitalist in this country. But America has some problems with itself. Some states does better than the other, especially, I mean, look at California. I did have a friend who was over there half a year ago, I think it was, and the videos and it was catastrophe. She was in LA as well, so yeah. I'm sure in the northern part of California it's probably much more better because it's much more or less dense populated. But southern part of it all, it's complete chaos. And then of course you have the legalization of drugs like marijuana. I don't care what people say. Weed is a drug and it's bad. Just look at what it does. Sorry, Germany, you might think that you are... A lot of people might say, oh, people, I'm not gonna throw my hat into that, but I don't support marijuana. Medicinal marijuana, yeah, probably, but legalize it, no. And I don't support much. I support heavy taxation of consumption on alcohol and tobacco, absolutely, no problem with me when it comes to that. So anyway, let's go into this again. Don't be derailed here. So California, obviously, Joe Biden, it's not gonna change, unfortunately. New York, I'm gonna go in with I'm gonna go with a very powerful lean to the Democrats and Joe Biden, but it seems like the Republicans are gaining a little bit, but not enough to actually win the state. So we just have to see. So far it looks like the Republicans are growing a little bit, but I don't think they're going to be able to grow I don't think they're going to win the state. They're going to gain some votes, but not win it. Which is this? This is... I think this is New Hampshire, right? Yeah. New Hampshire also, and Vermont, probably also very powerful lean to the Democrats, but it's probably going to be a little bit more Republicans. When I say Republicans, I don't mean hardcore members of the party who are voting for Donald Trump. I'm meaning swing voters here, because the national polls show, in many of the polling status and reports and that sort of thing, show that there's a very big slice of the pie where there's a lot of swing voters. So and because it's so divided right now, the swing voters are going to be very influential in this election, as since like 2016 maybe. Let's see, Maine. This is the second district, if I remember. I think it's gonna be for Donald Trump, leaning towards the Republicans, if I'm correct right now. The state as a whole is probably going to lean towards Joe Biden, including the first district. Massachusetts, right? Probably going to be Democrats as well. Connecticut, Rhode Island, all of them probably going to be Democrats, sorry. New Jersey, also going to be Democrat. Pennsylvania, we gotta save that one. Pennsylvania is, and the Rust Belt states are going to be, including Georgia, is going to be. I'm gonna leave them be for the finale, because they are the stars here in this election, just like the past one. Delaware, right? Probably going to be Democrats. Maryland, right? Delaware and Maryland, yeah. I think it is, yeah. It's probably going to be Democrats, including Washington D.C. What else? Oregon probably is going to be a safe bet for the Democrats, including Washington a little bit. It's going to lean more to the Democrats, I think. Minnesota, we've seen a little bit of reports that Republicans are gaining there from the swing voters, but I think it's going to be the Democratic win there. It's going to be a leaning one. Excuse me. Let's see now. Nebraska, we can probably throw in Republican. Why do I should begin with the Republicans instead. I do think that it's going to lean towards Democratic win. If I remember correctly, I think they are going to win the second district, I think it's called, in Nebraska. Let's see else. A lot of the states right now are states that are either swing states or very heavily to Republican side, or leaning towards the Republicans. But so far, Joe Biden have 175 seats. You need 270 to win the race. So let's go to Donald Trump. So far, he has Maine 2nd district. This one, a little bit here. Let's see now. Obviously, Louisiana is going to be a heavy Republican state, including Arkansas. Missouri, probably a leaning state. Iowa, a leaning state to Donald Trump. Mississippi, a leading state. Alabama, probably going to be a very hardcore Republican state. South Carolina as well. Tennessee as well. Kentucky is going to be a leaning one. West Virginia is probably going to be a leaning one, including North Carolina. Florida is going to be a guaranteed win for Donald Trump, because so far the Republicans are just killing it right now there. So they should be proud over themselves for that. Oops, sorry. Alaska is probably going to be a Republican state and leaning one. Nebraska, as I said, leaning, and the first district, I think it's called. Maybe we should go with a hardcore state red here. South Dakota and North Dakota probably is going to be for Donald Trump, including Kansas leaning, and Oklahoma a leaning one. Texas is going to be interesting because the Democrats and the Republicans, the Democrats are actually gaining there, but they're still, just with the case of, for example, New York, where the Republicans are gaining votes, but they don't have enough because the Democrats have such an advantage. So that's kind of reverse in Texas, where the Democrats are gaining voters, but it's not enough to beat the Republicans. So it's going to be more like a leaning state to Donald Trump. And so far, Donald Trump is leading with 188 seats against Joe Biden's 175. I should probably throw in Hawaii to Joe Biden, so he's 179 right now. Let's see. Montana is probably going to be a hardcore Republican state. Wyoming, I'm gonna go in with a leaning one, as I saw in the report. Colorado, I think it's if I remember from the polling, I might have to look it up. Okay, I just looked it up, and Colorado is a very leaning Democratic state. So, and Utah is a heavy leaning Republican state. So far, as it stands right now, Joe Biden 189 and Donald Trump 201. So Donald Trump is creeping towards victory right now, and it's pretty much looking like it usually has done since 2016, with the whole splitting America in the middle from the North Dakota to Texas. So let's see, but Nevada, oof, I'm gonna. Right now, you gotta understand that from the polls, some favor Donald Trump and some favor Joe Biden, and it's very narrow between those two, and so and there's a lot of swing voters who hasn't decided yet, so it can go however. I'm gonna say that Arizona is probably going to be a Republican win, but a very, very narrow win for the Republicans, just like it was for the Democrats in 2020 when it was like what, a couple of thousand I don't remember exactly, but it was one state where Donald Trump just required like what 14,000 votes or something to win that state. Either was Georgia or something like that. But we have to see if that's the case for Arizona. But I think if I would kind of predict, I do think that Arizona is going to be a Republican win. Still very narrow. However, Virginia is going to be, I'm gonna say it's still a Democratic safe state. It's still going to win that state, but they are going to lose a lot of swing voters to the Republicans. But just with the case in New York and Texas, the Republicans need much more. So I don't think they are going to be able to win the state. The Democrats are going to hold on to it. Ohio. Had I put in Nebraska as a whole, as I said, I do think Nebraska as a whole is going to be a Republican victory. So I don't. From my record, let's remember when I read. Let's begin with New Mexico instead. New Mexico, I do think it's going to be a Democratic win. Sorry. Am I screwing up right now? There we go. I do think it's going to be a Democratic win, but they are going to win it with a slight advantage compared to Republicans. So right now Joe Biden has 205 electoral votes against Donald Trump 216. So this is going to be terrible to endure when for a lot of people this coming November, and for a lot of people around the world. I think that Joe Biden is going to win Wisconsin and Michigan, but they're going to be maybe not a narrow, but when it comes to Wisconsin, I do think they're going to win the state, but they are going to lose a lot of swing voters to the Republicans, just with the case with Michigan. So I do think that, I think in my last prediction, I think I gave Donald Trump Michigan because of the polls, but I still think right now I do think that the Rose Belt states are going to mostly go to Joe Biden and the Democrats, but they are going to lose a lot of voters, especially from the blue-collar families and that sort of thing. Illinois, hasn't Illinois been a very Republican state? Or is it Indiana that I'm thinking of? I might have to check that as well. So yeah, I looked it up. I was a little bit wrong, reversed wrong. Illinois is a very democratic state, and Indiana has not always, but pretty much for a long time been a Republican state. And so far, it looks like Donald Trump is. What am I doing? Donald Trump is heavily favored in Indiana. So, and Joe Biden, I'm gonna say they're probably still going to retain the state and maybe gaining some votes, but the Republicans are going to start to creep up, but not enough. So yeah, Illinois goes to Joe Biden and Indiana goes to Donald Trump. And right now, Joe Biden is leading with 249 electoral votes against Donald Trump 227. Oh boy. Here it comes. The meltdown, the headaches. Ohio, probably going to go for Donald Trump. Possibly a a likely win for Donald Trump, but it's going to be a very narrow win. Maybe not a narrow win, but they're going to be more like a little bit of advantage for the Republicans and Donald Trump. Yeah, I was forced to look it up as well. Yes, Ohio is still it still looks like it's going to be Republican state, but it's very narrow between Joe Biden and Donald Trump. Trump still has a little bit more of an advantage compared to Joe Biden, but I think there's going to be a little bit of a combat in that state. So Donald Trump right now has 244, Joe Biden 249. And now we go over to Idaho. I think it's going to be a narrow win for the Republicans. Maybe not a narrow win, more like a leaning win for the Republicans. Yeah, I'm gonna say leaning win for Republicans for Idaho. And but the Democrats are going to creep up a little bit, maybe. Who knows? I'm just guessing here. And going after what I see in the polls and what I mean, it's still like 6 months or something till all hell breaks loose again. Nevada, Pennsylvania, and Georgia, the three states right now that I think is going to play a humongous role in this upcoming election. Mainly Georgia and Pennsylvania, because whoever wins Nevada, it doesn't really matter. All that's mattering right now is either Pennsylvania or Georgia. So Nevada, I think it's going to be a narrow win for the Republicans, because in the last election it was very close for Donald Trump to win that state, but the Democrats won it. But I think it's going to be a very narrow win for Republicans. Yeah, I think it's going to be a narrow win. From what I've seen from the polls and from the last election, I think it's going to be a very narrow win for Republicans and Donald Trump. So that leaves Donald Trump with 254. He's in advantage right now, and I think he only needs to win either of these two states to become the president. So Joe Biden better do hard work in these two states, because as I said, if Donald Trump wins Pennsylvania, it's over. He's completely won. Excuse me. He's completely won that state, the entire race right now with 273. Or oops. If he wins Georgia, he still wins with 270. So sorry. I mean, Georgia is going to be the most interesting because I mean, the last one when Donald Trump just required like what 14,000 more votes or something like that. And that's the whole deal with the indictment right now, what's surrounding him, which is one of, I think it's the last. Is that still going? I don't remember if it's been tossed away or something. I don't know. The lay down something. The whole fiasco with Donald Trump apparently mixing or trying to halt the Democratic vote process in Georgia. There's a lot of things surrounding that, but Joe Biden must win but both states. And right now it looks like it in both states it's trench warfare between between the Democrats and the Republicans, and there's a lot of swing voters right now that either side are just trying to catch and grab at all possible angles. I'm gonna try predict Pennsylvania first, even though I think Georgia is going to be called out much earlier. compared to Pennsylvania, because Pennsylvania is pretty known to have a very slow counting process and that sort of thing. I think it was like what, a day or two until we got the confirmation who won Pennsylvania in the last time, and even in 2016. I think that Joe Biden is going to win Pennsylvania, but it's going to be a very narrow win, an extremely narrow win for Joe Biden. Maybe not as much as 2016, no, 2020, but it's going to be an extremely narrow win for Joe Biden and the Democrats. Huge disappointment for a lot of the Republicans, surely, but all they have to hope for is Georgia. That's what I think is going to go down. Georgia is going to be the star of this election, including with Pennsylvania, but mainly Georgia. It all depends on the whole indictment and that sort of thing, and what the people there think about all of these 4 years with Joe Biden, what they think about Donald Trump right now. If Donald Trump wins the state, he has won the race. Not as much as 2016, because 2016 he won pretty big. Like I think it was like 360 electoral votes, like including Michigan and Pennsylvania and Georgia. God, this is oh. This is like a heavy responsibility right now. I think I might need to take an extra look at the polls right now. Okay, that didn't help, but Donald Trump is indeed favored in Georgia in almost every polls. However, still it goes for Biden. It goes like up and down rapidly, like, and really like changing drastically as well, like from 30 to 40 to from 48 till 38, and it goes up and down. So just decide, goddammit. So, but still, it looks like Donald Trump is going to win Georgia, but it's going to be a narrow win, I think, because the whole up and down with Joe Biden in the polls and that sort of thing, it's not a conclusion, but it gives you an insight. But I think that the Republicans are indeed going to win Georgia, but with a very narrow win. So Donald Trump wins here in this scenario with 270 electoral votes, which is needed to win, and Joe Biden just behind with 268. How much did Donald Trump gain in 2020? Wasn't it like 260 something? Was it 250? I don't remember exactly. So Donald Trump wins, and whatever is going to happen those 4 years, who knows? I mean, 2016. I mean, how many people didn't predicted that World War III would begin? Donald Trump would cause such harm and that sort of thing. But he was pretty calm. The only thing that was drastically in sort of way was indeed the immigration or migration influence into the United States was pretty hard. And now under Joe Biden, it's been an absolute catastrophe. So yeah, I think Donald Trump, if he comes back, and if he do, then yeah, the border is going to be closed. that's final. Excuse me. And if Joe wins, I mean, the reason why this election is so surreal in sort of way is because both of them, in my opinion right now, in my humble opinion, they are too old. And for those people who say no, they're not too old, it's all about stamina and that sort of thing, or passion and that sort of thing. No, they're too old. They're too old. I mean, Joe Biden, he's ready to knock on the pearly gates any moment right now. And the Donald Trump, you can definitely see that he's starting to become a little bit grandpa-ish, like the whole not 100% dementia, but a little bit grumpy grandpa in sort of way. If that's, I don't know how to express it in English. Frankly, not really. I'm much in Swedish as well, but I think that no matter what the Republicans or hardcore Republicans or Trumpists are saying, I do think that the perfect choice for the Republicans would indeed be Ron DeSantis or Ram something. I don't know. He had some immigrant name or something like that. Pakistani, I think. I don't remember. One of the candidates who jumped off the Republican nomination for candidacy pretty early, and endorsed Donald Trump. But I think that Ron DeSantis would probably be one of the better choices for the Republican, because he's younger and he does have more experience ruling and governing and that sort of thing, in more political experience, and he has a background, a blue collar, the kind of background. And no matter what people say about his decisions with the fight against Disney and the Don't Say Gay law, whatever it was called, that's not the correct name, but it's a nickname for it. And then of course his abortions law and that sort of thing, a bit too strict in my opinion. But do I support abortion? To an extent, I do. I support that it's women's choice, absolutely, but there is a threshold, is that how we call it, from when, in my opinion, it's gone too far that the woman does not have any more rights to make any decision upon it. Then it has to be either universal agree between both the man and the woman, or the state has to intervene. No matter what people say, I think the state probably has some sort of guarantee to just finish off some sort of argument. And yes, I don't like the government to intervene too much in private life and that sort of thing, but you gotta have an intermediary sometimes, unfortunately. So Donald Trump wins here. As I said, 4 years. The first thing that he's probably going to do, if he wins, is obviously closing down the border directly to the south, to Mexico, and probably to Canada. No, maybe not, but putting very heavy restriction on Canada, possibly. And of course he's going to try to negotiate a peace deal between Ukraine and Russia. And he say he can do it overnight. No, you cannot. Obviously you cannot. I mean, Donald Trump, if Donald Trump think he can say like, okay, if Ukraine lets Russia keep all of the territories they are either have occupied as of the moment, or handing over everything that Russia is asking for, then Ukraine is obviously going to say no, and Donald Trump is going to withhold any support, military support and economical support to Ukraine. But I think at that point, the European countries and the entirety of EU, we're also going to have an election this year, and I think it's going to be a very pro-Ukraine and a very pro-Ukrainian government that's going to be established. So we're probably going to increase our production in ammunition and weaponry and that sort of thing to Ukraine, kind of taking the place of the United States if Donald Trump becomes the president and decide to withhold support and so. It also depends on if the Republicans win the Senate and the Congress, the Senate and the House of Representatives, right? It all depends on there as well. I mean, those two last year when Donald Trump was in office, he didn't get that much done because the Republicans didn't have the majority either in Congress or the Senate. So who knows? Anyway, thank you all for watching this this short video. It's just having a little bit of fun with all. It's not guaranteed, it's just a possibility of what I can gather so far. But yeah, anyway, thank you all for watching.